Yo, what is going on YouTube? Jesse504 here, bringing you all APA Week 8 Team Builder No Battle. That is right, we are going to do a dedicated Team Builder, see how it goes. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and so yeah, let's just hit it up. This dedicated Team Builder will be a little bit different than dedicated Team Builders of the past. Dedicated Team Builders of the past used to not have like any sort of gameplay, but here I'm going to include some mock replays for you guys to go ahead and check out sort of my thought process, my tweaks to the build. This week we only got one, but I know in future weeks we might see potentially more. And so yeah, I'm just going to try this for like the end of APA. If it's well received, I can bring it on to future leagues depending on if I have time for them. But yeah, our matchup this week, which will be the first section, it'll be matchup analysis, team analysis, mock analysis, 3 different sets of analysis. But let's get into the matchup analysis. Kelly's team consists of Dracovish, Excadrill, Zarude, Sylveon, Dragalge, Blaziken, Vanillux, Mesprit, Type Null, Gigalith, and Arctozolt, while my team, the last week that we were going to be using this team, Latios, Weavile, Aegislash, Togekiss, Tangrowth, Mienshao, as you can see, is opening up the team. Uxie, Stunfisk, Munchlax, and Toxapex. Sort of my thoughts on the matchup. It's kind of awkward for Kelly. His best 2 offensive mons, Dracovish and Excadrill, on paper aren't the best here between Tangrowth and Toxapex. They are kind of handled pretty well. And then offensively, they don't do as well. Defensively, his team has to worry a lot about Latios. Sylveon plus Zarude as the resists aren't the best. He could throw Type Null on there for a pivot, but it kind of struggles to push progress on a regenerator draft. So I don't really foresee that mon coming. But what I could see coming is like some sort of Excadrill. I think is still good enough where you don't have to bench it, especially if you can find a way to lure Tangrowth or just put too much pressure on me, overwhelm me, force me to go Tangrowth, potentially with just like a Dracovish. If it comes, I think it comes at a band, just click, 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 but it might not come. He could think that it's not needed. I still think at a band Dracovish has to be respected here, but it can be revenged pretty nicely by Latios, Togekiss, Weavile, depending on how chipped it gets, and Mienshao, so that's just something to consider. Zarude, I think, is a good bring for Latios. Can potentially like run a bulk up jungle healing set and try to set up on my threats, which could be a bit scary, and is nice for Aegislash as well. However, it does kind of fold to Weavile, but it does get close combat, so Weavile can't really come hard in on it. Sylveon, I think, is defensive, or not defensive, especially defensive, I think, comes in on Latios. However, it does allow in my Aegislash for relatively free. It could pepper me down with Shadow Balls or Mystical Fires, but Aegislash is super good against Kelly, so we'll have to see. Dragalge is quite annoying here. I'm not afraid of like Toxic Spikes because I have a Toxapex, but just like offensively it can put on a lot of pressure because it does get Shadow Ball for the Aegislash and then stabs for the rest of my team, kind of nuke. But Shadow Ball doesn't really do that much. Dragalge's not that strong. Blaziken is an interesting mon on Kelly's team. He could go a few ways with it. I think mainly 2 come to mind. One is a choice set, probably Scarf, but it does struggle to lock between Toxapex, Latios, and potentially like a Uxie or a Stunfisk. However, U-turn is always pretty nice into any of those. But the other one that I think could be a little bit more innovative would be like a Rocky Helmet Vacuum Wave set dedicated to Weavile, because Weavile does kind of smash his team. If you look at it kind of closely, Weavile goes in absolutely. But I think Scarf is also more than fine, or he could even go Specs, but I don't think it's that likely. Just I think you want some physical coverage for Toxapex, be it Earthquake, be it Thunder Punch, but most likely Earthquake. Up next, Vanillux, leading into his second weather. I think this is the weather that does better here. Hail. Hail can't touch Aegislash, can't really touch Weavile, just Vanillux on its own. But it's still Weavile, it'll push progress. But outside of that, does fantastically here. Can't really touch Munchlax either if I like to bring it. But just Veil into Arctozolt, into just Arctozolt clicking buttons is going to be tough. I think it comes. Mesprit is a solid rocker here, so I could see it coming. Type Null is annoying, bulky pivot. I think it could come, but it'll be annoying. I've got 2 really good knock users, being Mienshao and Weavile. A good trick user in Latios and then some lesser used knock like Tangrowth, Toxapex. I'm well prepared for Type Null. Gigalith I don't think comes unless he really wants to go a sand route, but I don't think hard sand will do that well. It could theoretically overwhelm because drill, but the issue with that is I can always dedicate Tangrowth to drill and Toxapex to Vish, so he'll have a bit of a rougher time. And then Arctozolt is just going to force plenty of 50-50s, and if we call out good 50-50s on the Arctozolt, great, we're winning. If we can't call them out, yeah, it'll be able to position into plenty of kills. But our first mon is Mienshao. Mienshao this week is Choice Scarf. Fighting resists are Mesprit and Sylveon, and Dragalge. Dragalge I can't really hit that hard, but Mesprit can get knocked, Sylveon can get P-jabbed, or just U-turned on any of those. And then CC is free. Adamant Scarf outspeeds Arctovish in Hail by 1 point. And I didn't think Scarf Zarude was a fantastic bring here. I feel like if you're bringing it, you're bringing bulk up jungle healing. But yeah, that is the Mienshao for the week. Up next is the Latios for the week. We're choice specs Latios, so we can potentially 2-hit KO Sylveon. We've got Stabs. Draco plus Psyshock hits his team really hard. Mystical Fire for an Excadrill, or if we need to lower some special attacks, I could see it coming into play. And then Trick is mainly we want to target the Type Null. I could see us trying to target the Sylveon late game, but Specs Hyper Voice still does kind of hurt my team, so stuff to keep in mind. But Latios does outspeed his entire team, bar Scarfers. Up next, we will see Weavile. Weavile's got the heavy duty boots with the pressure ability, Adamant Nature, and knockoff Triple Axle, Psycho Cut, and Ice Shard. Still outspeeds the entire team outside of Sand. Knockoff Axel, look at he doesn't really have the best resists. I think if he wants to do anything, it's physically defensive Gigalith or defensive Blaziken, but defensive Blaziken is not that good because he also needs to rely on defensive Blaziken for Aegislash, I think, if that set comes. But I just think offensive is going to be more straightforward. He's not an Amel, he's not thinking outside of the box like that. I don't think, at least. Up next is Aegislash. Aegislash is just going to be physically offensive, and it kind of just rips him a new one. I can position in on stuff like Sylveon and just kind of do damage. CC and Ironhead do really well. I didn't really ever foresee myself clicking Shadow Claw on anything outside of Mesprit, so I don't have it, and instead elected for Sneak. I think Priority is nice, especially when he's got those weather abusing sweepers. And then King's Shield is also fantastic to control my form and to stall out weather turns. And then Toxapex, Tangrowth, I think, were pretty obvious coming. They need to. We've got Recover, Baneful Bunker, Gungshot, and Scald. We've got an interesting Gungshot with a little bit of attack investment to be able to break Dracovish substitutes was the main reason. And then we kind of just pivoted on his team. No Haze this week, unfortunately, couldn't really fit it. So if he is that bulk up, Zarude could get kind of scary, but I don't think it'll be that bad because I still have a whole ass Tangrowth. And then Recover to stay healthy, obviously, and then Bunker, I think, is A, to stall weather turns, obviously, but B, get that Dracovish, get that Arctozolt on a potential timer. And then last mon here is the Tangrowth. Tangrowth is relatively physically defensive, handles a lot of the similar mons. Focus Blast, Sleep Powder, Power Whip, and Knockoff. I think I made a couple changes to the team that, from what you'll see in the mock, and one of them is I was Earthquake, but on my Tangrowth for a little bit, but I decided to go Focus Blast so that I could touch Zarude. And then Sleep Powder in the matchup is here over Synthesis. I usually like to have Synthesis on my Tangrowth, but between the double weathers, I just figured it wasn't really worth it. So yeah, this is the team that we are going to bring to the battle, and we came to this team courtesy of a mock, and yeah, we can just get right into this mock, as we see Jason elected to bring no Vish, which I think is very possible. He went with Blaziken, Excadrill, Sylveon, Vanillux, Arctozolt, and Mesprit. So yeah, let's just see. I think leads, I can pretty freely lead Mienshao, and I can just try to break with my Latios to eventually position an endgame where I can either stall him out, or where I can win with Mienshao or Weavile outspeeding things. And yeah, he leads the Mesprit, I lead the Mienshao, so yeah, it's just a pretty free U-turn, we'll outspeed it, and then I can get into my Aegislash relatively freely, and he just gets up his rocks. Rock could be kind of annoying, and then he reveals the Shadow Ball, which is, again, kind of annoying, and I see Sion and over predict, and the issue with that play right there, I didn't really need to make that prediction. I could have just Iron Headed for free. CC doesn't really get me that far in the grand scheme of things. Like, what does it accomplish? Nothing really. It's like it could catch a Blaziken hard switch. It could catch, I guess, an Excadrill hard switch. But in this mock, I was, I believe, Shookaberry, so I didn't even need to really worry about catching an Excadrill hard switch. So, yeah, and now he goes into the Excadrill. He's able to call me out as I King's Shield. And at least I'm able to switch my form, but then I just go back out into my Tangrowth. No need, as he just Earthquakes, and we are in a fine spot. I can throw off a relatively free knockoff, or Earthquake, depending on what I think. But I actually just Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder is also very fine here. Puts the Vanillix to sleep, lets me get some offensive momentum, offensive positioning back, and I'm able to get into my Mienshao for free, and then just either fire off a knockoff or a U-turn. I believe I just knock here. Trying to catch that Mesprit and finish it off, yeah. And if he gives me the Sylveon's item, great. And if not, he's probably just going to sack his Mesprit. And yeah, we're chilling. This Hail Chip is really negligible because once we switch, we are good. I go Aegislash. Bolt Beak is going to kill me off if he elects to go for it, yeah. And we see he was the Rock, but we outspeed, so we can just get off another U-turn. But I close combat just to be safe. No need to overplay there when I have my free Toxapex on the Sylveon. Sylveon could be kind of tough to break with no Aegislash, was something that I also noticed. But I can get a Gunk Shot off here. He Mystical Fires me. Probably trying to catch like an aggro Lad. I don't know what that's actually trying to catch. Maybe just like Sludge Bomb Pex. But he gets his Vanillix back in, and I'm able to Gunk again. Get some good chip off, and now here I can once again, I can either think about going into my Latios. Latios is good here, forces a kill pretty much. Psyshock is relatively free. He would have to go Hard Drill. And I don't know if you can risk that because I can also just Mystical Fire. Mystical Fire is also quite free because you have to go Hard Blaziken to call that play out. However, Sylveon isn't low enough, I don't think, to where I can safely Mystical Fire. So I think my play is just to get in that Mienshao and just U-turn on out afterwards. And he burns his first turn of sleep, as I can click U-turn for relatively free, and now I can get into my Pex again. But yeah, I'm not really pushing progress on the Sylveon is something that I note, so just like note for the battle, we're going to try to do a better job of keeping my Aegislash around, because Gunk Shot doesn't have the most PP. We've already used 2 out of 8 of our Gunk Shots, so we have to be more cautious of that, and just more cautious of losing the Aegislash for really no value in general. It was probably the incorrect sack pick there. If I had to sack something, it was probably Weavile. Like, yeah, Weavile's good, but it wasn't like integral to a game plan or necessary to break something. So yeah, I think I just should have sacked my Weavile. Hindsight. But at least the Hail is done. There's only 3 turns of it left in the game, and he doesn't go into the Arctozolt there, so we should be fine. He does get off a mean Poison Jab in the Hail, though, so we are kind of stuck. He does double out into the Arctozolt, catching me going hard Latios. And now I'm in a position where I need to sack once more. Probably just the Weavile, right? Yeah. And I die. Actually, he Icicle Crashes me, so I live. Because you can't really make that play. And I just knock off the boots. Bolt Beak, and we should live because we were faster. And I can just knock this again. Get it really low. And Bolt Beak finishes me off. But we make the trade, and now we can just once again U-turn. Just keep U-turning. Mienshao is going to need to do what the breaking for this game. I can't get into my Latios yet. I probably could have buffed Roselli at some point, but I get off my Scald on the correct prediction. However, I don't get the burn. He doubles Arctozolt, which is good, but I bunker, and he Stomping Tantrums me and ends up dying to Life Orb. I didn't think he would click Bolt Beak there when I saw that he was Life Orb. And I just bunker on the Drill, trying to scout it out. He Earthquakes, and he's Life Orb, so he can make the call, but he just goes Blaziken. I actually go Latios here because I'm crazy. I just didn't want to get Poison Jabbed, and he reveals the Scarf, but I do eat up a Scarf, U-turn, and I can click Psyshock for a nice 2-hit KO. And then just sack off my Latios at this point. It's not really needed. It dies to Rocks on re-entry. And he goes out into the Sylveon, and I go Pex. And Pex should be able to win this game here. He goes Blaziken. I miss a gunk. I still have a few more gunks left. He earthquakes and we eat it up as I recover once to see what he wants to lock, and then I can Tangrowth here expecting a double switch, or he's just locked into earthquake. And I still have my earthquake on this Tangrowth, and I actually am pretty safe to just sleep powder. However, I do miss. Maybe I don't need to sleep powder this late into the game, but still having the Sylveon asleep makes the game much more winnable. I knock it, which is nice. He was Babiri Berry this game. Yeah, so maybe my Aegislash wasn't going to be as useful as I was predicting, but I think it's still worth knowing. He Hyper Voices. Hyper Voice is fine here. I Sleep Powder, and now I can regen up, prevent an Earthquake lock late game, and just maybe get into my Mienshao Poison Jab, or just get into my Pex and B Pex. I can He Wakes early and Wishes, and I Gunk. Can I get a Gunk Poison ever? No. And now he Calm Minds, and this is scary, but he reveals to be no Protect Mono Moonblast, so I can actually just 2-hit KO him with Gunk Shot. However, I do need to connect this last Gunk, and I don't. So now we have to like sort of stall him out, which is a bit annoying because he can just keep throwing off Wishes. And we do finally connect. I thought we were out, but we actually had one more Gunk Shot. And I can now just Baneful Bunker to Scout Diff, or to sack my Tangrowth expecting an Earthquake. But he actually goes for Close Combat to end the game. I could just go back and into my Toxapex, but I choose not to because it's just a mock battle. I don't really care about differential, but alas, we were able to pick up a victory. In the mock, things to note for our actual game, which you will see tomorrow. Preserve that Aegislash a bit better. It's definitely a great offensive weapon. And then the Mienshao can kind of clean up late game, and definitely need to get that Latios in more. I didn't get it in enough this game. There was definitely I don't know if there was opportunities, to be fair, but there definitely was times where I was like, dang, I wish I could get Latios in, but I just didn't. So yeah, this is our team builder. I hope you guys enjoyed a team builder, good old fashioned. And yeah, until next time, Jesse504 out. Peace.